Might be seated. All right, I apologize for the delay. The meeting was longer than I anticipated. All right, we're going to start with the motion to hear electronic evidence. All right, Ms. Cheatham, you have filed this motion.
You're all right. I have provided a copy of Dr. Kaplan's curriculum vitae. As I stated last time, Dr. Kaplan has had a license in the states of New Jersey and Georgia for many, many years as a licensed clinical psychologist. To my knowledge, he's kept those licenses current. He currently resides on the island of Antigua, having recently moved there with his wife, who was offered a professorship at a university there, so I'm assuming he's in some sort of semi-retirement. He has reviewed some records related to my client, with anything that she is, perfectly capable and has the authority to release to him. We've released them for his review. It is strictly based on, his testimony would be based on a review of the records. He is an expert in several different areas, most specifically childhood trauma. He has memberships in some fairly prestigious organizations that are devoted to the welfare of children and the use of science in these types of proceedings. And I think his testimony would help the court a great deal. I think under Rule 26, if requested, I would have to provide a summary of what we expect him to testify to. I'd be glad to do that. The certificate of service, of readiness has been raised. That is an issue of notice. I could remedy that by simply, I did not file the original certificate of readiness, but it would be an easy fix to add his name, but I think it is a level up of notice, not a level beneath notice to file an actual motion. There is a statute. It's under the Tennessee version of the UCC JEA. It does not limit it to UCC JEA cases, however, and says any case in which a party or a witness resides out of the state and would be unavailable for subpoena or otherwise unable to appear in person, that the court may accommodate by allowing phone or electronic testimony. He's testified for me as an expert via electronic means in Knox County, Davidson County, and Coffee County, I believe, are the only ones he's appeared via electronic means, but I would think the court would welcome the information that Dr. Kaplan would bring to the case. And I have filed his curriculum vitae along with my motion.
All right, Mr. Frakes, any response?
Your Honor, the father would object to the admission of the testimony based on, one, the amendment to the certificate of readiness at this date after trial has begun. Also, we have no knowledge of what documents have been presented to the doctor in order to make a determination, basis for his statements. Further, the doctor has failed to, or not had the opportunity to interview the child or the mother, is my understanding. He's only going to be testifying as to what documents he's received. We don't believe that that would be a fair statement based upon based upon documents supplied by the mother herself. If the doctors had the opportunity to review the entire record, then maybe it would be a different issue. But at this time, the father objects to his testimony.
All right, and Ms. Mack?
Your Honor, at the conclusion of our morning, my position was, and if the motion states that Dr. Kaplan has reviewed the records in this cause and is available to review more records and speak to trauma induced from the removal of a child from a primary attachment figure, the possible causes for the behaviors exhibited by Delara, the current status of mental health, the current status of Ms. Hubble's mental health, to the extent he's able to give an opinion, and other relevant information related to the current custody situation. My only concern, Your Honor, with this is my colleague, Ms. Cheatham, has testified that he's reviewed the mother's records. It's information that's as well as the records in this cause. This matter has been going on since January, literally since the filings in September and November of 2016, and there has not, prior to providing Dr. Kaplan with any of this information, there had not been any motion by Ms. Regule. She was the attorney of record at the time. Prior to this information being released to Dr. Kaplan, based upon my knowledge, information, and belief, procedurally, juvenile court proceedings are confidential in nature, and any authorization of release of any records to Dr. Kaplan needed to submit leave of the court. It is clear that by this motion and Ms. Cheatham's testimony, they've already usurped this court's authority and submitted information in regards to my client, as well as the court record is based upon this motion. And it is this guardian ad litem's position is that procedurally, procedurally it's improper before the court at this point in time, and that any testimony from Dr. Kaplan without the court having the opportunity to have had this motion before this information was given to him, Your Honor, again, what could he provide as to whether or not Delora would suffer trauma from her mother or being with her mother? The court is aware of that based upon the history and all the testimony from everyone in January and February and March of 2017, and now even in May of 2017, Your Honor. Again, whether or not Mr. Kaplan cannot say what the cause anyway, but again, procedurally, I think, Your Honor, this is not properly before the court because they've usurped this court's authority and jurisdiction to make decisions on who we can release information to. So that's just my position and my concern, Your Honor.
I could address that one real quick, Your Honor. They weren't provided pursuant to juvenile court. They were provided pursuant to circuit court when we were in there for several weeks this summer and toward the end of the year.
I'm not necessarily as concerned about what records he received or necessarily how he got the records, but my issue is the notice of an expert witness, and there are specific rules that have to be followed when an expert witness is going to testify. And I think Mr. Frakes mentioned some of that.
And I could remedy that, Your Honor. Like I said, Rule 26 says that I would give a summary of what
Let me finish what I'm going to say. I think there are issues with that, and my issue with that is once a party submits an witness for an expert witness, the other side has the opportunity to first of all review the records, determine if they have a alternate expert that they want to bring, and a whole lot of other things. And that's the reason why we don't allow, as a court or as the rules of evidence, that expert witnesses, there's a procedure for the allowance of expert witnesses so that in the midst of trial there's not a ambush of experts without any notice. And I think it technically could prolong the proceedings, and we've already started. This filing these cases have been set for months. The filing was set a long time ago, and I know that you just got on the case, and I hate to have to hamper you as an attorney for what the previous attorney may or may not done, but I don't think at this time it would be fair for have a expert witness with no notice to the parties introduced at this time. So I'm going to deny the motion. I'm going to deny his testimony at this time.
Okay, and Your Honor, I understand that, and I do want to say that my client has been basically, had 2 attorneys. The father has got 2 folks advocating vigorously for his position. My client's had nobody.
She's had attorneys throughout.
She had Ms. Regule.
To other proceedings, she's had other attorneys.
She had Ms. Regule, and Your Honor, I think we don't. We're not punitive toward people because of their lack of resources.
We're not, but this petition was filed by an attorney. She's had an attorney that filed this petition.
I understand.
In these proceedings. And
there
was about a 2-week period where she did not have an attorney. Or I don't know, maybe it was we came in September to review whether she had an attorney, and then October you had one. So it was less than a month that she had an attorney.
And Your Honor, we were told, I was told by Ms. Regule that we were 3 days into an ongoing ongoing proceeding.
Which would,
And then I was
would
told
even
that
support
this
my
was-
reason why I'm not allowing a new witness
But
to be
then we were told
introduced.
last time that this was the beginning of a brand new proceeding. So, and the other thing is, Your Honor, if this is a custody proceeding, which I really do need to make very clear, that my understanding is there's no dependency and neglect. This is a straight up custody and would therefore be appealed directly to the Court of Appeals, puts this guardian ad litem under Rule 40A as opposed to a Rule 40. And under those rules, I think I'm at least permitted to put Dr. Kaplan on as an offer of proof if we don't finish today. The next time that we return, I'd like to at least do that so I can preserve my record, because this would go to the Court of Appeals.
I will allow you to present a summary of what he would testify, and put it under
Okay.
seal as an offer of proof.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. All right, and so that leads us to your next witness.
Lydia Hubble, and I call her as an adverse witness, Your Honor.
All right. And she was sworn. I didn't think we'd get to her today, but we have. And so she was sworn. You are still under oath, Ms. Hubble. Oh, yes. They had filed this motion for, to be set on November the 21st motion docket. I'm going to remove it from the November 21st docket and deny it today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's fine, thank you.
So you all do not need to be here on the 21st. At least on that motion.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Frakes, you may go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Could you state your name, please?
Lydia Hubble.
And you are the mother of Delara, obviously, correct?
Yes.
How would you describe your parenting style of Delara, ma'am?
In relation to what facet of my parenting style?
Just in general, how do you describe your parenting style of your daughter?
I would call myself I'm very much into attachment parenting, and I'm pretty authoritative. I believe discipline is important, especially in very young children, training them up. I'm not exactly sure what.
What do you mean by attachment parenting, Ms. Hubble?
It means I've got it's very, like, I did extended breastfeeding, we did co-sleeping, I did a lot of infant stimulation, prenatal stimulation, very much trying to meet all facets of my child's development. Very much hands-on, very much nurturing. I'm very nurturing of my children's needs.
Until what age did you co-sleep with Delara?
Your Honor, I think I'm just going to have to object to relevance. This is so broad and going back so
All right.
far, we're
What's the
never going to
relevance,
finish.
Mr. Frakes?
Our relevance as to that question in regards to the condition of her housing, which is relevant in this litigation.
I'll sustain objection, and we'll focus on since the October 2014, is that when it was?
2015, Your
No,
Honor.
2015.
Do you shield your daughter from legal proceedings?
As far as I'm able to.
Do you openly discuss court proceedings with your daughter?
No.
Have you instructed your daughter to fight for her constitutional rights?
I don't recall ever saying that to her.
Do you recall instructing your daughter or questioning whether or not your daughter wanted to question the supervisor of your parenting time?
Question supervisor, asking the supervisor, I don't recall anything, my daughter asking. Oh,
No, you
oh yeah,
asked me
oh
that.
yes, I do. Yeah, I do, when I visit, they attend, I remember at Life Care specifically, And we were told they're ending the visit early. And my daughter she did say why. She said, why? We're not even talking about court. So she has questioned the super. I didn't tell her. Oh, it was a question. Did I?
Did
tell
you
her
instruct your
No,
daughter to do
no,
so? Or did you question if she wanted to do so?
No.
Are you yourself willing to comply with the court's order?
Yes. Well, I will comply with, I am complying with court's orders.
Are you willing to comply with all court orders in the future?
Yes. If that's what it, you know, I need to get be in my daughter's life, and yeah, I'm complying, and I plan on continuing to comply with court orders.
Do you believe that you...
I'm sorry, and I don't mean to interrupt, but Judge, I may have to do some standing. My back is starting to go down. Thank you.
Do you believe that you continually and consistently act in the best interest of your minor child, your daughter?
Continually, in general, yes. I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect parent who always makes the exactly correct or always makes the best parenting decision, but I believe I've got a good track record of, with my 2 older kids and with all the children I've taken care of. I think I make exercise good judgment in my child's best interest historically.
All the questions that I will direct to you, ma'am, unless specifically stated, are in regards to Lyra alone. Have you consistently acted within her in her best
Your
interest for the
Honor,
past 2
I'm going
years?
to object to him narrowing her answer. If her answer includes her other children, when she's talking about parenting.
I'm gonna overrule that. I think he has, it's his question, and she is the adverse witness, so you of course can, have the opportunity to redirect her.
That was the question.
Have you consistently acted in Laura's best interest for the past 2 years? Since October 15, 2015.
I haven't, I believe I've tried to. As far as I've been able to, I've tried to act in her best interest.
Well, there are specific incidences that you're aware of where you did not act in her best interest?
There are specific instances that I've been questioned, but I have not seen any evidence that it was not in my, I don't see any evidence that anything I've done has adversely affected her in any way.
So do you believe that all of your actions for the past 2 years have been in her best interest?
That's always been my intention, and it will always will be my intention.
How many bedrooms does your home currently have?
Well, it depends on how you, beds where people are, beds,
How many rooms with beds in it?
well, I've got my bed in one room, and then there's bunk beds that I've set up, well, they were already set up. Delara has her own bedroom, and I have my own bedroom.
Is your answer 2, ma'am?
Yeah, I would say there's 2 bedrooms in my house.
And are both of those bedrooms currently usable?
Yes.
Are any of those bedrooms cluttered to the extent that they cannot be occupied?
No, the bedrooms are usable. I'm using one of them, and I expect my daughter will be using the other one.
Did you previously refuse to allow DCS or CASA into your home?
Yes.
For what purpose?
Exercising my Fourth Amendment right to be secure in my home. They didn't have a court order. I was exercising my constitutionally protected rights. That's why.
Are you willing to allow DCS or CASA into your home currently if the court orders it?
If the court, or if the court complies with the law as far as ordering, yeah, I already said I comply with court orders.
Have you created some form of a movement since October 15th, 2015 in order to draw attention to this litigation?
I don't believe I've formed an amendment. I think the amendment is already existed. So I just joined the movement.
Have you organized some type of a movement in order to bring
Asked and
attention to this
answered.
litigation? It's a different question, Your Honor. I've asked organized now. She's denied forming a movement.
All right, I'll overrule. It's a different question.
I can't say that I have really organized anything.
What is Children Campaigning for Liberty and Justice in America and Tennessee JAM, Judicial Accountability Movement?
That's
Your Honor,
not-
and that's, my other objection is relevance. I think the Court of Appeals has spoken on her First Amendment right to post these items about how she feels about the court system in any forum that's public.
I'll overrule. Go ahead and answer your question.
What is the Children Campaigning for Liberty and Justice in America and Tennessee Judicial Accountability Movement?
The Tennessee Judicial Accountability Movement is a group of people concerned with the condition of the judicial system in Tennessee nationwide. And Children Campaigning for Liberty and Justice in America is Dolores best friend's efforts to help get her friend home.
Have you created the Children Campaigning for Liberty and Justice in America and Tennessee Judicial Accountability Movement?
I did not create those. I set up the Children Campaign. That was a group project with Dolores Friend in Tennessee. The Judicial Accountability Movement. I'm just trying to give people a way to come together and make some changes.
I can present the witness with a document, Your Honor.
All right.
Object to the relevance.
There's an
All right, what's the relevance? What's the relevance, Mr.?
Your Honor, this
Arbitrary.
goes towards the best interest of the child. She's, rather than comply with court orders, she's attempting to make a martyr of herself and post things, not only post things online, create a social movement campaign. She's also protest outside the child's school under this organization that she's created with 3 other minor children.
All right, I'll overrule the objection.
What's the question?
Do you recommend the document, ma'am?
Yeah, these look like everything on the website I set up.
You did set that
Well,
website up,
I
correct?
did, yeah, the websites are, I set up the websites. Yes, I did.
What is the movement for?
Asked and answered.
Judicial accountability.
I think I'll sustain that one. I do think she said.
May I see your copy for a moment? Thank you.
I'll sustain that one.
Yes, Your Honor. You created this website, correct?
The website I did.
How do you
I thought that was
recruit members?
sustained.
The other question was,
How do I approve members?
How do you recruit members?
Recruit members? I talk to people. That's probably the biggest way to do it is I just tell everybody I meet. And I tell the kids I'm working for, tell everybody they meet when we're at the playground, we talk to people.
What kids are you working for?
Working with?
Yes, what kids are you working with?
Shania Nasa is Dolores' best friend. She hasn't seen for 2 years. She's the one, she considers her, she says she's the president of the CCLJA. So she says, don't worry, Delora, we're coming for you. And this is the project to try to help get Delora home.
This is the project that you founded, correct?
I call myself a facilitator
Why do you refer to yourself as a facilitator?
because it's not like my baby. It's not, it's something, I think the Children Campaigning, it's for the children, about the children, and about their friends and how their lives are affected when they lose their friends through misuse of the court system. How
old is Shania?
She's 9.
Did this 9-year-old child come to you and suggest that she found this organization, or did you present it to her and her brother?
She told me in February she was upset. She was talking to me about Delora and.
Your Honor, and I'm going to object to any testimony by of the hearsay of the minor child, Sean.
May I respond?
Go ahead.
It's not offered for its proof, it's offered in response to how did this happen, and he's wanting to know how it occurred, and she's telling.
Your
It
Honor,
doesn't-
and it's
whether
not under one of the exceptions of Rule 803.
It's not hearsay, it's not offered for its truth, it's offered to show her state of mind in facilitating that, why she calls herself a facilitator rather than a founder.
I'll sustain the objection. I think it is hearsay. Ms. Fritz.
What is your relationship to this 9-year-old child, Shania?
I believe you would call it I'm fictive kin. I consider her basically my own family. We're very close. We've been very close since her mother and I are very close friends. Delara, we met them when they were almost 2, so they're best friends, and I'm close friend. Consider her mother one of my best friends. So we're it's like family.
Does this child live with you?
No. We live very close, and I see her a lot. We've been very close over the past 7 years.
You provide care for the child, daycare?
I've babysat when Delara was here. We would just we would play dates, and I babysit, and parents would go out. I do everything I can to nurture these relationships.
Under the Children Campaigning for Liberty and Justice in America and Tennessee movement campaign, you've created signs, correct?
Your Honor, again, the court, looking at this, it has spoken
It has spoken, and it says that she has the right to do that, but as I stated before in the previous objections that I overruled, I do think that it can be considered in the prongs under 36-1, 106 as to particularly, I would say under prong B or second one that talks about her or either party's ability to encourage a close relationship with the other parent. I think that this type of behavior and information would definitely go under that, as well as the prong. I think it's probably about number 8 that talks about the moral and emotional fitness of the parents.
I think what he's doing is playing to this court's prejudice and trying
He's
to
asking a question that I have decided that that is an appropriate question for this, that goes towards the weight of the evidence that looks into 36-106. So
I mean, we've got a lady that's got no contact with her child that he's attempting to get this court, the court's ire, because the court got at least partially reversed on First Amendment issues. This isn't about the child. This isn't saying Mr. Goddard.
the objection.
Okay.
Under the Children Campaigning for Liberty and Justice in America and Tennessee JAM movement that you and 2 minor children belong to, you have created signs regarding this litigation, have you not?
Misstates the evidence.
There's a lot more than 2 children involved in this.
Who else are members?
Well, we don't really there's we've got people in Montgomery County, just anybody who wants to participate, and yeah, we've made signs. Shania and her brother and her mom, and we've made fans. They've painted rocks. People up in Montgomery County. We've got friends in Rutherford County, the Gerishmans. They're a Turkish family that I met through the Turkish American community. There's a 11th grader, and I think the other one's 13, and they're very much they want to see Delara come home, and they're very disappointed in how Delara's been treated. So
Has
yeah,
anyone
there's
other
several.
than Shauna and her minor brother made signs with you?
Made signs. Do you consider the fans to be signs? I consider them to
Yard
be
signs or protest signs, ma'am?
I've made the big signs.
Has anyone assisted you other than 9-year-old Shauna and her brother?
Shania, yeah, we've had several different children in the community help. I've made the big signs.
And the signs that you've made are regarding your daughter in the current custody litigation, correct?
Yeah, specifically Delara. She and Annalise Breidenberg in Montgomery County were like the two cases that Shani was most concerned about. So we're like working on those two cases, and then we're gonna plan on helping other kids as we're able to.
And all these signs were created after October 15th, 2015, correct? All the signs were created after October 15th,
yes.
2015, correct?
Yes, anything with Bring Delara Home, yes.
How many signs did you make approximately?
I've made 20 probably, and we can't count the fans as signs too. We probably made a couple hundred of those.
What were the message stated on these signs?
Everything says CCLJA because we want people to come to the website and understand that there's problems in the family court system with children. So they all say CCLJA, and the kids would do like artwork because I want it to be. I mean, it's for the kids, about the kids, and primarily. And the fans, we put a picture of Delara's face on it. And Bring Delara Home, Team Delara, something positive, Delara's name in it. So I want people to see my child's face. I want her to know her name. I want her to know we want her to come home. So most of them say her name, CCLGA, and either like Team Delara, Bring Delara Home. I think that's it, mostly.
Where were these signs placed, ma'am?
Just different places. I don't even know where some of the other helpers in the movement, where they put any up, but I put some up. Where have I actually put them up? I got most of my signs have not been put up. There's some on in front of the VFW on Charlotte Pike. I went to talk to them about the situation, the Veterans of Foreign Wars unit there, and I put a couple of small signs in front of their property, and I put different ones. Let's see, put 1, 2, 4 signs at different times in a friend of mine. He's a member of the same church I'm in. He lives across the street from the school. So there were 4 spent in his yard. They didn't say put up, but my friend was very supportive in putting signs up in his yard and bringing awareness to the cause. I can't really think of the signs I've actually put up, like, other than those yard signs, and I think maybe the friends in Rutherford County might have put some in their yard.
Did you specifically choose your friend's yard in order to have the signs close to the proximity to the school?
Yes, absolutely.
Were the signs intended to be seen by your daughter, Delara?
Mostly by the parents and her classmates, but I hope she would see them too and know that I was out there trying to help bring her home.
Your Honor, I would ask that the Children Campaigning for Liberty and Justice and American Tennessee Jam Movement pamphlet be marked the next numbered exhibit.
All right, any further?
Same objection.
All right,
I was just looking at, I'm sorry, just one quick thing. I was looking at the date of the appeal, and it did come down February 23rd, 2017, and encompasses everything that Mr. Frakes just mentioned. Subject to the relevance.
I have one for the
All right,
fourth.
I'll overrule based on the same thing, and that was exhibit number which one?
This is a photograph. Do you recognize that, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
Was that posted on
Hold
your
on a second,
social
let me
media?
get the number right
Yes, Your Honor.
on the exhibit. Can I? It's definitely 19. Yeah, 19. 19. Okay. 19.
Thank you, Your Honor. Was that posted on your social media?
Yeah, this
Slide.
one, I forgot. I said, please help us. I forgot I put those words on the sign. Please help us. Hashtag bring Delara home, www.cclja.org.
And where is that sign posted, ma'am?
This is in my friend's yard across from Gower Elementary.
And was that within viewing distance of the school?
School, I'm not sure about this one because it's kind of low and it's behind the hedge. So from the school, I don't know, but I do think you can see it from around the school. Like people coming and going should have been able to see it.
Did you consider getting a billboard ad for the?
Oh.
Object to the relevance of something she may have considered.
Stop.
What's the relevance of her, I guess, consideration?
Same relevance, Your Honor. The sign's posting the same thing. She's posted on Facebook, social media, that she will be moving to a billboard ad soon to her counterterrorism plan.
All right, I'll overrule the objection.
Can I see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think she has to identify, he can't identify. I mean,
Right.
it has to be something.
I agree with that.
We may be.
You recognize that, ma'am?
Mhm.
And is that a post that you made on social media?
Yes.
Would you read the post, ma'am?
The whole thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Things in my case are going along according to plan, I guess. It is quite sad and disturbing that we are going to keep slogging through the mire. I think my friend and I have made our point by showing that the sign stealer and trespasser is very disturbed emotionally. I am moving into the next phase of our counterterrorism plan. Signs are still important. We may be getting a billboard ad soon. Those are harder to steal. Exposure therapy can be very effective, and I am hoping people will get used to other people sharing their opinions freely. I'm very glad my daughter is doing so much better at school since the interventions I pushed for are helping her manage her behavior there. I am not sure how she is doing when she is outside of a positive, supportive environment where people try to show respect for her.
Did you actually consider getting a billboard sign regarding your daughter?
Well, maybe not specifically for my daughter, but for the judicial accountability, cclja.org. I mean, it was just, I think it would be good. Some people have put billboards up in other parts of the country, and I think they can be effective, like child trafficking, and yeah. I would love to see billboards.
Why did you refer to your role in this litigation as a counterterrorism plan in that social media post?
Why did I say that? Because I feel like this is a lot of the stuff that goes on in family court and between custody battles and the attacks, personal attacks and attacks on people's rights. I think it reminds me very much of terrorism that goes on overseas where people are. So that's my mindset is where we need to be more free, more liberty, justice, less oppression, less people threatening you and intimidating you and coercing you out of exercising your constitutionally protected rights. So that's where my mindset of terrorism, that's where it comes into the picture. And I believe we have to, Tennesseans, I mean, it's in our Constitution, we have a right and a responsibility to resist oppression and arbitrary abuse of power, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I do think oppression, arbitrary abuse of power is a form of terrorism, and that we need to counter.
Oppression and arbitrary abuse of power by whom, ma'am, in this situation?
By the government. By the government.
Yet you're willing to comply with any court orders?
I will comply. there have been a lot of court orders that have affected my daughter in a very negative way, and like stopping me from homeschooling. I followed that order. I did not agree with it. So I don't have to like the order. I don't have to agree with the order in order to follow the order. So willing, I don't know, the word willing, I don't think that's really appropriate. When I feel like that an order is oppressive or an arbitrary abuse of power, or if it's being misused, the court's being misused to hurt me personally and hurt my daughter, I can't say I would be willing to follow those kinds of orders, but I would follow those kinds of orders until I could get them modified or overturned. Does that answer your question?
You're saying that you would follow the order, but you wouldn't willingly follow the order. What's the difference, ma'am, in your opinion?
I thought I just explained it to you. I don't know how to explain it.
Have you taken signs outside of your daughter's school?
Asked and answered.
Have not asked that question, Your Honor.
Taking
Oh,
signs? What do you mean?
Have you taken signs such as protest signs that you carry outside of your daughter's school?
Like posters? Yeah.
Any type of signage? When did you do so, ma'am?
That's not what she just testified to.
He
That
was
was
talking about the yard signs, I think. Signs I'm holding was August 7th, the first day of school was August 7th, and I was being like a silent sentinel there that day. And I was there again another day, I'm not sure.
Explain your role as a silent sentinel, please.
Oh, you don't know about the women's suffrage movement? And,
Explain your role and how you compare it to this litigation.
Well, it's for liberty, fundamental liberties and parental rights, and children need both parents. The science says children need both parents. That's advocating for parental rights, but I was not speaking. I was standing silently, holding the signs, advocating for my daughter and parental rights. So I was not speaking to the parents or the children. I was standing there silently, like the women's suffrage people stood outside of
On school
White House.
property?
It was my understanding I was on public property. I've never had any confirmation that I was not on public property. I was on the sidewalk. I specifically chose a spot that I thought was public right-of-way, public property, because I wanted to avoid being on the school property because they don't want me on school property. So I was trying to be respectful.
What location was the sidewalk into the entrance of the school?
It was leading up to the entrance. It was between the grass and the school property. It was a sidewalk between that and Old Hickory Boulevard.
Did parents and children have to walk by you and your signs in order to gain access into the school?
Yeah. I tried to put myself in a position to where the parents and children could see me.
What did your sign say?
One said, children need both parents. One said, tell everyone your story, or tell your story to everyone. And one said, I think the other one said, bring Delara home. But I specifically do remember the tell your story to everyone and children need both parents. I'm not sure about what the other one said.
Was your daughter named on only one of these signs?
The ones I was holding, yes, I believe. I'm not even for sure what that one said, but I do believe she was named on, and it was on the back side of one because I would like flip it. So, yeah, her name was on there. I'm just not sure if it was Bring Delara Home or Free Delara. Oh, that's the other one. Free Delara Gadere, Bring Delara Home, Team Delara. I'm not sure what was on it.
Free Delara Gadere.
Free Delara Gadere.
Free Delara Gadere from what, ma'am?
Free Delara Gadere from being kept in captivity where she's not able to contact her mother and her friends and her family.
Do you recognize the social media post that I just handed you?
Yep, I do.
Did you post that on social media?
Yes.
And does that reference you going to your child's
What's the
school on the
date,
first
please?
day?
Could we have a date?
August 7, that was the day I was, the first day of school.
Does that reference you going to your daughter's school on the first day of school with your sign?
Yep.
Was it
Oh,
your?
I don't know, hold on, I gotta read it. This is an email I sent to, yeah, what was your question?
Does that post, social media post, reference you going to your daughter's school on the first day of
Yes.
school with your signs?
Yes, it does. Mhm.
Was it your intent for your daughter to see that sign? Or to see you with your signs?
I would like to, for her, my daughter to have seen me and my sign, but it was, I thought it was unlikely that she would see me, but I wanted the school bus drivers and the parents and the kids to see me.
But you were hopeful that your daughter would have seen you with your
I would
signs?
have loved for her to have seen me, yeah.
How would it have been in your daughter's best interest, ma'am, to see you outside her school holding signs saying "Free Delara Goodell"?
Adair.
Goodyear.
Dear, how would it,
How would that have been beneficial to your daughter's mental and emotional health?
well, I think she would know that, first of all, no, I was not in jail. She's worried about that before. She would know I'm trying to get her home. I'm making efforts. I can be a presence, in our life. I would have been there every day if I could have. And just letting her, because she was having such a hard time. I think she needed her mom. And however I can be present in her life and give her hope and relieve some of her suffering and help other children and parents to know what's going on and know why she acts the way she is. She has a reputation for being crazy. That was a word a third grader used to describe her. She's crazy. Her second grade teacher testified how the children are afraid of her, and she doesn't really have any friends at school. And that just breaks my heart.
Do you think it would benefit her?
She's still answering.
I
He
think
lost that answer long ago, so I'll let him redirect her.
Do you think that it would benefit your daughter to gain friends and for other children to stop speaking of her in those terms by having her mother stand outside the school holding signs that say "Free"?
Could he
Delara
not
Goodell-
raise his
Goodell?
voice, argumentative
I-
questions?
that-
Wait a minute.
sorry.
It didn't sound like he was raising his voice to me. He was trying to. I'm gonna overrule that objection. Ms. Hubble, your attorney's working with you or working for you, and so when she says objection, if you'll stop talking, so that she can get her full objection out.
Would you like me to repeat the question, Ms.
I would
Hubble?
like for you to repeat the question.
Do you believe that it would benefit your daughter and allow her to gain friends and have other children not speak of her in such terms by having her mother stand outside the school near the entrance to the school with a sign that says "Free Delara Goodyear"?
That was my intention. I thought it might pique their interest. They might, and get the word to her friends or her classmates that she's these outbursts and violence and disturbances. It's coming from an emotional need that's not being met. I think any child could relate to that. So I think my intention was to get her story out there, to kind of rebrand her, to help her to have a better reputation. I think.
How do your signs help her to have a better reputation, Mel? What is your rationale behind that?
Okay,
Trying to
I
explain
thought I
it.
told you, getting the story out, getting the message out, telling if the kids go home, if they tell their parents, Laura did some crazy stuff, or I wanted the parents in the community where Delara's been living for 2 years, in the school community where she goes, I want the parents to know what is going on in Delara's life. I want them to know how children are hurt through problems in the court system, family court system. It's a public service announcement trickling down, hopefully trickling down to my daughter. And some kids, you know, aren't afraid of her too much, and they can talk to her and they say, your mom was out there, what's that all about? So that was my hope and my intention, that when the Court of Appeals failed me, we've got these months going by, my daughter's having suicidal ideation. How could I make that worse? That's my rationale. My rationale is she's been cut off from her mother for months. If I can let her know, she's been begging to come home to her for years. I felt like it would be reassuring to her that I didn't just abandon her. I didn't just disappear. I'm out there. I am your mother. And I will do anything I can to meet your needs. If I can't have a conversation with you, if I can't have lunch with you, I will stand outside your school with signs to let you know and let everybody at your school know I love you and I want you to come home. And I want no child to have to suffer like you've suffered. That is my rationale.
Why not address it through the judicial system?
I did address it through the judicial system. We've been in the judicial system for 3.5 years. When I went, they stopped me from homeschooling downstairs. We came up here. When they stopped me from homeschooling, I lost a huge part of my parenting time. My time that had been used to meet my daughter's needs. So we go down there, we come up here, he gets that order of protection, I get totally cut out of her life. I appeal. Pro se. I don't have money. I had a lawyer the last day of my custody trial, and he might have come in here for a couple of things. Ran out of money really quick. And I went through the court system. I came in here and I brought witnesses to talk about what a good mother I was. And Delara's relationships with church and with neighbors and with family. And I brought an album of pictures documenting her life and her relationship with her brother and sister. She got cut off from all these people, not just from me. And when you cut off a parent from the child to cause injury to the mother, you are creating a corresponding injury in that child. You cannot cut off my rights as a parent without cutting off her rights to family association. And our rights are put in law to protect us. And I have fought for years for my daughter just to have both parents in her life to the maximum extent possible. And I trusted the court, and we just kept losing more and more of our rights and more of our time together. And I would ask for people to help me get a lawyer, and they're like, nothing's going your way. And I said, well, don't worry, because we were down there. I said, don't worry. The juvenile court judge will fix this. And then the juvenile court judge didn't fix it, and I said, the Court of Appeals will fix this. They look very closely at these constitutional issues and these fundamental liberties. I trusted the system, and it failed my daughter, and I told this court almost 2 years ago in January, they were so concerned about me, my Facebook posts, my words, my complaints about what my daughter was suffering. Nobody was going to my school, the guardian ad litem, the CASA, they didn't go to the school, they didn't talk to the teachers, they were repeating whatever the father said, weren't listening to me, I don't have a lawyer, I don't have any credibility. Who cares about my daughter? You could expect the father to tell the truth. You could expect the father to do what's in the child's best interest. So I trusted the system. I gave the system a chance to work like it's supposed to do, even though if it worked the way it was supposed to do, I wouldn't have gotten cut out of my 6.5-year-old daughter's life for a year in the first place. So, when the system failed, when the Court of Appeals opinion came down, and they didn't fix anything other than some free speech. I mean, I want my daughter, I want to be my child's mother. I want to be able to nurture my child and give her what she needs to develop normally and be happy, healthy, and a productive member of society and enjoy all these relationships she had been enjoying previously. Court of Appeals failed me. We get this, I find out she's throwing chairs in first grade. No, Guardian Ad Litem is so busy scrolling through my YouTube videos and nobody's paying attention to how my daughter is being affected by me being cut out of her life.
When the judicial system failed you, you took matters into your own hands.
I've tried to.
Did you ever, just once, stop and think that you standing outside your child's school with signs saying "Free Delara Gadir" may have the opposite effect that you intended to, may be detrimental to her, may bring her ridicule?
I did not have any reason to believe that, and I don't have any reason to believe that she was negatively impacted in any way.
Did you even consider?
I thought it was a good idea. I thought what could happen? I thought the worst thing that could happen is I could get arrested for trespassing, but I stayed off the property.
You thought about what would happen to you, but did you ever stop and think about what may happen to your child as a result of that? That she may be ridiculed, that other kids may make more fun of her?
You don't understand. It cannot get any worse for my daughter. She creates a spectacle out of herself. She draws horrible negative attention to herself. She is so out of control of her behavior. How could I make that worse? I'm trying to do something different. The school was not, whatever the school was doing wasn't working. My daughter, I watched my child falling apart month after month. Nothing's getting better. So why would I think I could make something worse for her by trying to draw attention to the problem so she can get the help she needs?
Your Honor, one final objection as to relevance. I think there's got to be some foundation other than she disagrees with the court, wanting the court to get mad at her. I don't know what else the court can do besides cut her off from her child for 2.5 years, but do something else to her when there's no proof that this child has ever even seen these things that keep getting passed out. I mean, it seems to me the court would be much more interested in how the child's doing.
Okay, I'm sorry. What question are you objecting to? 'Cause I'm not. Are you? What is
all
that?
This stuff. I mean, we've seen a good sampling of it. Are we going to sit here all afternoon and read Facebook, or are we going to hear about Delara?
All right, I will overrule the objection.
Are they the same? Are these not the same?
Relevance.
I'll overrule.
These are the same.
Well,
That's what I thought.
I apologize. The post that I just handed you, ma'am,
All right, cumulative then.
in the middle, does it not state, "I was hoping my daughter would see me show up to support her on her first day of school"?
I don't see that, but yeah, I was hoping she would see me showing up on the first day of school to support her. Yeah, I was hoping my daughter would see me show up to support her on her first day of school. Yes.
Your Honor, I would move to make the past 3 Facebook posts a collective exhibit, please.
All right. And same objection, I assume.
I assume, I was thinking maybe I'd go out and call a witness if all we're going to do is Facebook pages. I don't need to be in here objecting because I took to all the relevance and the Guardian Ad Litem snickering and all the rest of it.
Your Honor, let me just state for the record.
I'm going to go move on.
Okay.
I'm going to overrule the objection. That'll be Ms. Copeland-Walker. I think that's
We're number 20, Your Honor.
Okay, collective exhibit number 20.
What other measures, tactics have you taken through your movement in order to bring attention to your daughter's custody litigation, ma'am?
The biggest one's talking person to person with people. Painting rocks, making bracelets, with Team Delara on them, trying to get, people on her side. Facebook,
Have you chalk?
chalk, oh yeah, chalk. Mhm.
What is chalking?
It's writing on sidewalk chalk messages. Sidewalk chalk.
And what type of messages have you written with sidewalk chalk?
Oh, lots of different ones. I've written Jesus Saves. I've written Stop Medical Kidnapping. I've written Bring Delara Home. I've written orders, Stop Abusive Misuse of Orders and Protection. They're meant to be shields, not swords. Free Delara Dare. Team Delara.
Where have you written these messages at, ma'am?
All over town, different places. Dozens of different places.
Is it-
Scores of different places.
Is it your intent for your daughter to see these chalkings?
I would love for her to see them. Yes, it's but it's bigger than just my child. It's to bring public awareness to the problem of these children who.
Hold on a second. Your attorney stepped out for a second. Ask her what she said. Oh, you told me.
I thought she said she going out there call a witness for Facebook.
You all right? Okay. Go ahead. I stopped it when you stepped out. I stopped the proceeding. Just I didn't want her you to miss anything your client was saying. All right, go ahead.
Yes, Your
Or do you
Honor.
remember where we were?
Chalk all over town.
Was it your intent for your daughter to see
Oh.
these chalked messages?
I would have loved for my daughter to see them, but it was also public service announcements.
Why do you need to be concerned about children other than your daughter in her current custody litigation? You say this is for a movement for other children. It's greater than just your daughter. Why don't you focus on your daughter?
Why should I be concerned about other children?
I'm asking why you're not focused primarily
I am
on your
focused
daughter.
primarily on my child. That's why you see Team Delara. And I did write, bring Annalise home, Annalise Reidenberg, but I am focused primarily. And Annalise Reidenberg is I think she's on her way to be reunited with her. Remember baby Stefan? He died. That had a profound effect on me in when he was died in DCS custody. And I think every child is important. I think children are our future. My daughter is number one. That is why I am putting her name on things. That's why I'm putting her face on things. I want people to see her face. I want people to feel like they know her. I want her to be familiar. I want them to care. And I just think that's incredibly selfish to say why would you care about other people's kids? I just don't even know what else to say about that. That's just asinine.
Did you make these chalkings at or near your daughter's school location?
I did. The majority were not at or near the school. I think I chalked at the school one time since we started chalking. Shania and I started chalking. Oh, and then another mom.
You've taken this 9-year-old child to go chalking with you these messages concerning your daughter, correct?
She does it when we're together. And
Why are you together with this child outside of her parents?
Because I told you, I'm like fictive kin. We have a very close relationships. Don't you understand? People have friends. Children have friends. I make friends with the parents of children who are friends with my child. You don't understand that?
They understand that you take their 9-year-old daughter out shopping.
She just said that she
Yes.
went with her, Your Honor.
They-
So
and the-
object to
yes.
argumentativeness.
Yes, I've got lots of parents who are very supportive. Of, I have had strangers bring me bottles of water while I'm shopping. I've had people come by and say that family court corruption. Yeah, we do need to. I haven't. My brother died, and I haven't been able to see my niece because my sister-in-law doesn't like me. I don't even remember what the question was for that.
Where else have you posted these chalkings at where the daughter would see them?
I don't know where all my daughter goes. We have done playgrounds. We have done library playgrounds, courthouse, parks, playgrounds, Centennial Park, Nashville West Park, the Hickory Hollow Park, driveways, fences. We've chopped all over the place. Haven't gone too far north, but we've done Brentwood. Haven't done the Bordeaux area, East Nashville, but we've done downtown, and the south part of Davidson County.
Why do you hope your daughter sees
And
these
Rutherford
chalkings?
The same reason I hope she would see any size. I want her to feel my presence. I want her to feel my love. I want her to know I'm working to bring her home. Same answer.
Do you not correlate these chalkings and hoping your daughter sees it with discussing the litigation with her directly?
No, I don't.
If she sees these chalkings, which you state, or you hope she knows you want to bring her home, do you not believe that puts her in the middle of this litigation?
No, I don't. Her father put her in the middle of this litigation by cutting her off from me. He's the one who has had an adverse direct effect on her through litigation, not me. I'm trying to clean up the mess he made.
Do you believe that your daughter seeing these chalkings is in any way detrimental to her mental health?
If I thought it was detrimental to any part of her development, I would not have done it. My life is for my children to meet their needs, not to break them down. I want to build my children up. And I had no reason to believe, and I still don't have any reason to believe that anything I have done has harmed my daughter in any way. But if you've got some proof to show how I've harmed her, I would like to see it. Sorry.
Can you identify this
Yes.
social media posting, ma'am?
Yes,
Did you post this on your Facebook page?
it looks like it.
Was it September 9th, 2017?
Looks like it. Yep.
Would you read this post, please?
I have come nowhere near to implementing all my tactics. I haven't run out of ideas. I have a lot of ideas I would like to try, but probably never will. It depends on how desperate I get. I tried some new ones tonight. We'll have to wait till next week to see how effective they are. When I get Delara back, I'll keep fighting, but I won't have to do so much weird stuff. And I'm getting pretty weird, just wait. I have not done anything illegal, but it will be quite annoying to my oppressors who wish I'd give up and disappear and leave my daughter to grow up without what she has a right and a need for. I'll bet Delara and the rest of us are far more annoyed than Sarah Rice Digby and her client. Sarah and her client haven't had anything taken from them. They have only taken from others what they have no right to.
What are you referring to as you come nowhere near implementing all your tactics? What other tactics are you referring to?
I've got, there's a nonviolent resistance. There's a list of like 200 nonviolent resistance tactics.
What are you resisting?
Oppression, arbitrary abuse of power that hurts families. That's what I'm resisting. Trying to protect my daughter from.
What new ideas do you refer to that you used that night?
Your Honor, are they really relevant if they've not even been, she just said she hasn't done any of them. Can we talk about what's,
The question is, what new
In
ideas she
reality,
states she
that's
used that
done.
night, Your Honor?
I'll rule. The
That-
ones that
that-
you did that night.
Okay, that night I made, Shania and I and our friends, we made a lot of bracelets, just like this one. And they got glow-in-the-dark beads on them. They're Delara's favorite colors, red and yellow, and then the glow-in-the-dark beads saying Team Delara. And I had, wished I had more, and I threw them from up on the hill. I threw them onto her school playground, and I rocks that said they had a red flower on them. Shania, we were watching the Scarlet Pimpernel, so we felt like the red flower was meaningful. And so we had these white rocks, real pretty white rocks with a red flower and CCLJA, and then Team Delara, bring Delara's name on them, so they would connect these. I mean, I don't know.
So who would connect?
The kids. I mean, Delara, oh, is this the crazy Delara? Oh, this is pretty cool. Oh, are these beads glow in the dark? Where did these come from? I wanted to spark some interest, and I was hoping, I was hoping one would eventually end up on Delara's wrist.
So you threw painted rocks with your daughter's name and bracelets with your daughter's name onto her playground at night, correct?
Mm-hmm.
At what time at night?
It's after 9, I think.
With a 9-year-old child with you, correct?
No.
Well, you just said that you made them with Shauna and then she
No,
went
she
through
made
them.
them. She made them. No, she was at home in bed. She made these. We had a bag of the bracelets we made, and they had painted some rocks, but these were rocks that I specifically did. They've done some other rocks, but yeah, Delara's name on them.
And you were hoping that other children in school would find them on the playground as well as Delara.
Yep.
And you don't think that that would have brought her any ridicule at all?
No, I thought it would bring her pique a lot of curiosity, and people would go to her, and then she would say, "Oh, that must be my mom. My mom's really cool. You'd like my mom." In kindergarten, all the kids like my mom better than they like their own mom.
Truth of the matter is, it all revolves around you, doesn't it, ma'am?
No.
It's not about Delara,
Is
it's
my
you
name-
bringing
is my
attention
name
to
on this?
yourself, correct?
No, this is about bringing attention to Delara, so she can get the help she needs, so she can come home, she can be reunited with her friends and her family, her sense of stability. It's always been about Delara.
What are you referring to that you will be quite annoying to your oppressors?
Anything I do that might let Delara remember she's got a mom out there who loves her and is trying to get her home and wants to see her happy again. That's annoying to my oppressor.
Have you ever
That's
considered
what
the
it
fact that if you use half the energy going through the judicial system and doing what the court requires of you, that you spend doing these tactics, that you may have been reunited with your daughter by now?
I just told you the saga of hundreds of hours. I have not spent hundreds of hours doing this. This is what I use. Desperate, do something out of the box. Trusting the system didn't work. I spent probably 1/100th of the time doing this that I spent trying to navigate through the court system and work on my appeals and write the briefs and file all these answers to all these false accusations. No, like I said, I focused my time and energy trusting the system. When the system failed, I'm not going to just give up, throw up my hands and say, "Sorry, Delara, you're never going to come home." I give up. I'm not going to do that.
You wholeheartedly believe that the system failed you at every level, correct?
Failed me, failed my daughter for sure. Failed me, yeah. We've got this, my whole family's been failed. My community's been failed. All this money spent, people have tried to donate to help.
How's your community been failed, ma'am?
Oh, you don't think, it hurts people when, you know, your neighbors are like, is Delora home yet? Is Delora home yet? What's the problem? When's she coming home? When's this gonna be over? It affects the community. When you have relationships with people and you lose that relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a church family, whether it's biological family, whether it's fictive kin, neighbors, community, church, when you lose that relationship, it is a loss, it's an injury, it's something to be grieved, and you want restoration to those people that you love and care about. You want to see them happy and healthy and doing well.
Your Honor, I would ask that this exhibit be made the next numbered exhibit.
All right,
Same objection.
all right,
You're relevant.
all right. Overruled. That'll be exhibit number 21.
Tell me about the fan making, ma'am. When did you begin implementing fan
Judge,
making?
we've talked about the fans, the rocks, the chalk.
We haven't talked about the fans yet. She talked,
The
she mentioned
fans,
it, but.
Well, it is, we did admit to the facts that was a finding contained in the restraining order that we admitted is part of this record at this point, and a fact that we would have to deal with because there's been no appeal. And it's bans, chalking, Facebook, it's just a whole reiteration of that order.
Your response, they did concede to.
They stipulated to the finding that she did so, Your Honor. They didn't stipulate to the purpose, therefore.
Oh, y'all stipulate to the purpose?
So what? I mean, there's a difference without
I'll overrule objection. Go ahead.
What's the question again?
When did you begin implementing the fan making, ma'am?
In the summer. I'm not exactly sure what time.
and that, there again, objection.
Summer of
And,
2017?
it's in the restraining order, that's part of this record.
Summer of
Oh.
2017.
And what did your fans state?
Let me just, okay, lodge a continuing objection to asking, re-asking, why did you, when did you, where did you, all the facts that we conceded are in a judicial finding. And if he wants to sit here and beat it to death, all that, I think we're playing the run the clock out game so we don't get to any substantive issues, but, okay.
There's a picture of the fan right here. This is one of the fans, and I said, I described these.
These are handheld fans, correct?
Handheld, yeah, like you get funeral parlors used to have.
They had a picture of your daughter on them, correct?
Yes.
What did they state?
I told you,
An objection that's in that restraining order.
I'll overrule.
this they would say CCLJA, somewhere on there they say CCLJA. I already answered this. I talked about the fans.
Please stop talking.
Where were the fans passed out at, ma'am?
Objection.
What, the same objection? I mean, I'm not sure.
No,
I'll
I'm just
overrule.
gonna object every time there is a
Okay.
question that is contained in that restraining order and we just sit here and beat this to death.
All right, overrule. Go ahead and answer the question.
Where playgrounds, parks, church, neighbors, anywhere. Same thing like my business card and postcards. And
Did you pass the fans out at or near Delaware School?
I don't think I took the fans to the school.
Did you pass fans out at playgrounds that Delaware frequents?
Maybe she might have, yeah. I think I did the Red Goose Playground, passed them out there to people.
Were you hoping that your daughter would see the fans?
Yes. Anything with her name on it, picture on it, I would like her to see it and know I'm working to get her home.
You don't think that would be detrimental to her either, to see the fans with her name and bring Delaware home?
It's the same thing. All of these things is the same message. Children campaigning for liberty and justice in America, bring Delaware home. Delaware, I'm out there trying to bring you home. Don't give up. Don't worry. Cheyenne says, don't worry. So that's the message. All of these things, the billboards, the rocks, not the billboards, the chalk, the fans, they're all getting the word out to the community and hopefully to my daughter to get her some relief.
Are you aware of the restraining order in effect in this case, ma'am?
Yes.
And what does that restraining order prevent you from doing?
Chalking her name, putting her name out there.
And have you done so after entry of that restraining order?
I don't think I have put her name out there since, the last month when we were at court. I tried not to.
Is that since the date?
I told him I would follow the order, and I have tried to follow it as much as I.
Is that since the date that the restraining order was entered, ma'am?
What?
Have you done so since the date the restraining order was entered?
I'm not sure when the restraining order was entered, other than I know.
Your Honor, if we could clarify, it could have been entered before she had notice of it, so I'd really like a breakdown or object to relevance.
All right, I'll sustain that if you'll rephrase your question, Mr. Frakes.
If I could just present her with the restraining order to refresh her
Okay.
memory.
I don't think she said she couldn't remember, but that's not a proper use of refresh. But no, let me see.
Yeah, I haven't violated that one.
Your Honor, is there an objection on the table?
There is to not showing the opposing counsel something before he hands it to the witness. And the witness still talking. There's some objection. So, October 9th, 2017, and we were there on the 21st of September. Okay, thank you.
All right, go right ahead, Mr. Frakes.
Do you recognize that Facebook post, ma'am?
It's mine.
May I see it first, please, before anything's handed to her?
One's been
On
handed to
all
you,
of these?
counsel.
You need to hand these to
One has been
her.
handed to you, counsel.
When? Where?
That's it, it's on the desk right there, yeah.
You knew I hadn't seen
Your Honor, Your Honor, at this time, as guardian ad litem, I would like to make an oral motion that, Your Honor, that you order Ms. Cheatham to be a little bit more respectful to opposing counsel, Your Honor. This is,
It's not hurting Delora, she's not here, we'll be all right.
all right, it's not hurting Delora.
I didn't see that.
Do you recognize that post, ma'am?
Yep,
Did you make that social media post?
yep, I think I did.
What date?
August 18th,
Would you read?
2014.
Would you read the post into the record, please?
Okay, well, I'm answering a question the question being asked, is there any date set up at all for you two to see each other? My answer was no. In fact, there is a restraining order that is meant to keep me 500 feet from her between now and September 21st when we have the hearing. I've decided to totally ignore that. I can't get arrested for disobeying it. I can get arrested for contempt. I'm challenging it. It's absolutely outrageous that anyone would convince a judge who has never met Delora that immediate and irreparable harm would come to her if I see her or hold up a sign or write her name with sidewalk chalk to call attention to what Sarah Rice Digby, attorney, and her client have done to cause and are continuing to cause irreparable harm to Delora.
You openly state in that Facebook post on social media that you're going to not comply with the restraining order, correct?
Yes, and I'd like to explain that.
Please do.
Because, okay, there is confusion over this restraining order because I got something in the mail. I called the clerk's office. They said, I thought he didn't sign it. And on August 22nd, I got summoned to court. So there was a lot of confusion. I thought it was just an order that hadn't been signed. It was just really confusing, and it was so confusing. I just like, I'd rather continue to act trying to help my daughter than let her dad stop me from trying to help my daughter.
Regardless of what the court order says, correct?
I was confused about it, so I was like erring on the side of liberty, because it was really messed up, and I did not have a lawyer at that time.
You didn't care if the court ordered you to do something. You were going to disobey that order, right?
If I had known for sure, which I did find out for sure when I went to court, yeah, it was just really, really messed up.
And you were actually willing to go to jail just in order to disobey the court order, correct?
Objection, asked and answered 3 times now.
Did not ask if she was willing to go to jail, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I mean,
Oliver
switching out one word in every sentence doesn't mean these are not repetitive.
It's a different question, Oliver rule.
Were you willing to go to jail in order to disobey this court ruling?
And an objection, Your Honor, that's like, how many times did you beat your child? There was no facts. It said she was willing to go to jail.
He's asking her. That's all over the objection.
I would be willing to go to jail to, if that's, but I didn't think I would go to jail for this because I didn't think that there was a valid order in effect. I thought it was just a wishful thinking order.
If you didn't think you would go to jail, why did you include that in the post?
I don't know. This was written a couple months ago. I don't know what was going through my head. I just know I was really confused.
Are you trying to draw attention to yourself?
Objection. She's still talking.
I really was trying to meet my daughter's needs and putting off, I knew we were going to get it all figured out September 21st, but if this was written, so I had like a whole month, I could try to get the word out about Delora.
Were you trying to draw attention and sympathy for yourself, ma'am?
No, I was trying to draw attention and sympathy and public concern for my daughter.
Your Honor, I would move that be marked the next numbered exhibit.
All right. I'm assuming the same objection. Number 22.
Now, during the period of time, or shortly thereafter, the order of protection expired for Delora, as to you, did you write her certain letters?
Yes.
And in those letters, did you specifically discuss the litigation with her?
I don't remember exactly what I said.
Let's look at the letters, ma'am. I have one for the original for the court, one for opposing counsel, one for the witness. Ms. Mack, may I hold on to yours for just a moment? I only had 4 copies. I'll pass it
I'm looking
forward.
for exhibit number 21 and trying to.
I don't know if this is one she got or not.
Well, do you recognize the handwriting?
I wrote this letter.
You wrote this letter to your daughter on June 26, 2016. And in this letter, you specifically discussed the litigation with your daughter, do you not?
Well, I actually, I say it appears that your father is not allowing you to send or receive mail from me, so I'm basically writing it to him.
Look at the,
I
well, no,
kept
you're
a
not.
copy of this.
You're not writing it to him, ma'am, because it's addressed to Delora.
It's addressed to Delora.
And on the second paragraph, do you see where it says, "How can the courts take me out of your life like this?" Continue reading from there, please.
I think she was testifying about knowing that the father wasn't going to allow her to see it anyway, and I think she needs to be able to finish.
On cross-examination, she can, Your Honor, I would suggest.
Your Honor, she's better off. She's explaining her answer.
I'll overrule.
Would you read the letter, the second paragraph, from "How can the courts take me out of your life like this"?
How can the courts courts take me out of your life like this? How can your own father even ask the court to do such thing? I know it is wrong, you know it is wrong, it will eventually get fixed because there is a system in place to catch the people who do bad things. If the system doesn't work, the system doesn't work very well. If it worked the way it was supposed to, you never would have had to stop homeschool, and you never would have had to go over a year without being allowed to feel my arms around you, or hear my voice, or see my smile. We have to fight for our rights, just like the black people did 50 years ago. Encourage your father to consider your needs and desires. Tell him how you feel. Tell everyone. Never forget how much I love you. God is keeping you strong and patient, and me too. Love, Mom.
And you've previously testified that you do not discuss the litigation with your daughter, correct? That you attempt to shield her from the litigation.
As much as possible, but I didn't. I knew she wasn't going to get to see this letter.
How did you know she wasn't going to get to see that letter?
Because I knew her father. I knew her father was intercepting her mail.
You addressed the letter to her, did you not?
Yes, I did address it to her.
It was your intent that she see that letter, was it not?
I didn't think she was going to see this one.
Did you intend for your daughter to see the letter?
I think the answer is that,
This was for her father's
So
trying to
that,
get him to understand what's going on.
you wrote that letter for her father to view.
That's what I intended.
Do you consider that letter to be an attempt to facilitate a close relationship between your daughter and her father?
That was not my intention with this letter. My intention was for the father to encourage a closer relationship between the child and me. That was my intention with this letter. She already has a close and continuing relationship with her father. Why? You know, I've always supported her relationship with him. So this is trying to get me back into her life.
What's the date on that letter, Mom?
June 26th.
And a week prior to that date, you wrote another letter to your daughter, correct?
Your Honor, I think unless we can show that the child actually saw the letter, got the letter, read the letter, I think that all of these are irrelevant.
I'll overrule
Objection,
again. I
Your
think
Honor.
this is all going towards under 36-6106. I do look at the parents' behaviors in these matters, and that all this goes towards that.
Yeah, I guess we could.
Copy for the court and opposing counsel. Copy for the witness. Ms. Mack, I apologize.
I need that 21, because I don't know what 21 was. That's 20, I got, for that 21, there's 2 letters?
Do you recognize that letter, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
I got that.
Jay, when are we gonna talk about a next court date?
When we get finished with this court date.
Did you write this letter?
Yes, I did.
And was this letter written to your daughter?
Yes.
Would you read the third paragraph of this letter, please?
1, 2, 3. This is against all the law, and judges hurt innocent parents and children all the time. You are not alone.
I don't know if you asked this, I may have missed it. What was the date on this letter?
June 17, 2016.
Thank you.
And if you'll flip to the back page, ma'am, begin reading where it states, if your father.
Which page? I remember the pages. It was
Page
like
2, please.
Page 2. If your father keeps you from calling me or texting me, he will be breaking the law, and you need to tell everyone. Tell your father first, though, so he has a second chance to do the right thing.
Again, you're placing your daughter in the middle of this litigation by sending her this letter, correct?
No, she's already in the middle of the litigation.
You're openly discussing litigation with a letter that you wrote intending for your daughter to see it, correct?
I would have liked for her to know, yeah, and I would like for her to know that she needs to tell her story and ask for help. But there again, this is something I wrote after not seeing her for a year. I made a copy of it to keep for my records about what she's going through. And I had no idea whether she would actually get to see that or not. I expected she would not get to see it.
Well, you know your parental rights allow you to write letters to your daughter, correct? You're aware of your parental rights, obviously.
I am aware of my rights.
And
yes.
you wrote that letter to your daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you addressed the envelope to your daughter, right?
I did.
And you hoped that your daughter would read that letter, correct?
I can't remember. No, I didn't expect her. I would have been surprised if she read it, actually. If she was allowed to read letters from me, because, you know, they're not supposed to be tampered with, but, or confiscated.
And you continued to write letters to your daughter discussing the litigation, did you not?
I don't remember writing another one after this one. I pretty much, you know, made my point, and it's, you know, kind of like, I don't remember continuing to send her letters after it was obvious she wasn't reading them, and I'd already said everything I needed.
Did you send her a letter on July 17th, 2016?
I have no recollection of it.
Have an original for the court, a copy for opposing counsel, a copy for the witness. Do you recognize this letter, ma'am?
I don't really remember it. Yeah, it's mine. It's a letter I wrote.
That's your handwriting, correct? What is the date on this letter?
July 17th. I don't remember this. Yeah, but obviously it's mine. I just don't remember it.
And if you'll read the second paragraph.
Every year, but,
July
Apologize, Your
17,
Honor.
2016.
okay, go ahead.
If you'll read the second paragraph of the letter, please.
If you go to YouTube, search for My Darling Delora, or Lydia Hubler, Delora Gadare, find me singing and playing my ukulele and complaining about things. I have a glow-in-the-dark ukulele for you, and I can't wait to teach you how to play it. You will love it.
You're instructing your daughter to go watch your YouTube channel where you post things such as court litigation, court proceedings, court hearings. You're complaining about different aspects of this custody litigation, correct?
I have lately, but I don't believe. I think he doesn't have access to my YouTube channel. I think it's there again. I don't think she's getting any of this information.
But you instructed her to go to your YouTube channel, did you not?
In this letter, which I didn't think she got. Yeah, and you know, I mean, I would have. I was not directing her, and I don't even know at that time if any of the court stuff was public.
Flip the page.
But what I was directing her to was to be able to find me singing, playing my ukulele, and complaining about things.
Flip to page 2, please. Do you see the third paragraph of page 2?
Did you read about Ruby Bridges? Remember that black people had to do a lot of complaining and a lot of suffering before the law was followed, and they got to enjoy
Hold on,
their
Miss.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, Miss
She
Hubble.
just took a picture and you.
I'm fine with that. Go right ahead.
Did you read about Ruby
Your Honor,
Bridges?
I apologize. I need to take a bathroom break if you
Okay.
don't mind, Your Honor.
We can. We'll take about a
Thank you.
5-minute break. I'm fine with her taking pictures of anything we do up here. Everything we do is appropriate in this courtroom. I'm fine with that.
That's
So
good.
it's no problem.
That promotes judicial accountability. That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Like cameras in the courtroom. That's good.
No, you're not.
I think she took a picture of me too.
No.
Do you have to like blur the?
We have an agency for that.
Long as I'm not in a picture.
And you're a public officer. You're a public official.
I don't want to be in a picture. I don't have social media accounts.
Oh, I don't put it on social media.
Please don't put me in there because I am ex-military.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm an ex-officer's wife.
That's 20
I
years.
would not put any of that in social media.
20 years in Air Force.
Really?
Retired twice.
I
Retired twice.
Yes, I retired twice. I retired, my first retirement was in 1993. Second retirement was 2007.
We're both,
Second
Military.
retirement was Delta Airlines.
really? I had a cousin
I didn't
that's,
think I was that young.
I know how true. I had a cousin whose wife worked for Delta, Sherry Payne. Got this
I
big
worked in
round.
Atlanta. Did she work in Atlanta?
I
Georgia?
thought when people, even if they lived in Nashville, they worked out.
There's over 5,000 people down there.
You don't know somebody named Sherry Payne, that's this big round.
That was probably before my time. I worked there from 1994 to 2007.
All right, let's go stretch. I've got to do, and I'm gonna call Barry Lloyd.
I don't know. She just took
When
my,
I come to think, because she didn't tell me she was taking a picture, she just took it with
yeah,
her.
she just took it. Because I came over there and stood it when she kept getting her camera without the phone, then I said,
Yeah, she needs to delete that, because she didn't inform us that she was gonna do that.
Trust me, she took the picture for a specific purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
well, she asked me, she said, why you come over there and stand between me and the judge? I said, no.
Exactly.
I said, normally I can come over there and stand, I rest like this here. And she said, no. And then, so she had the camera, she raised it up, and I said, you took a picture. She didn't deny it.